These weeks are going by so quick.
It is.
I can't. I can't. It is Friday, so that
Yes.
means it's mental health talk. We're back. I can't believe we're already on episode 3. Next week is going to be a full month already
Okay.
that we started mental health talk. And today's episode is called "The Effects of Childhood Trauma."
Yes. Can y'all relate?
Child, this topic is going to go deep.
Comment below if you can relate. Name some of the childhood traumas you guys have experienced.
Yeah, because I feel like even when you have had a good environment that you grew up in,
Yeah.
it's still possible to have trauma because at the end of the day, parents don't have all the right answers.
Right.
You're raising a child with no handbook. So
Yeah.
it's just destined. It's just like relationships. You're going to hurt people even when you don't mean to.
Right. It's always the intent though behind
Exactly. Like not meaning to hurt somebody and knowing that when you do know you're hurting them to like heal that and change your behavior
Right.
moving forward. But unfortunately, some of us don't have that.
it. Yeah. It's
People-
okay to tell our children we're sorry.
Yes, yes. And I think that needs to be more common in households altogether, not even just households, but within us as a society.
Yes.
To understand that like not having pride is okay. Like it's like take your ego out, take your pride out, and like it's okay to take accountability for like playing a part in someone's story.
One of the things that I've noticed, like my generation, when your generation shared their experience, kind of like out loud in a way where you express yourself through social media, because we were taught what goes on this house stays in this house. The adults in my generation think like, oh, you're just looking for attention.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be putting that on social media. You should keep that to yourself. That's between you guys, sort of thing. But I feel it stems from because you can't get the parent to hear you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or even understand you. And also, it ain't even really about us all the time. Sometimes it's what you experience, other people are.
Exactly.
And so if you can take your experience to help somebody else, why not,
Exactly.
And sure, it don't always feel good when you do something wrong to hurt someone, but it's always the intent and, behind what it is that you're doing, not to hurt a person because you're sharing it, but more making it about other people to be helped behind it. And maybe sharing your story can help another parent out, kind of thing.
100%.
So.
And then it's like if you're willing to kind of be open to what your child has to say, even of like being like, oh, well, this is where I was when I was treating you like that. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was just doing what I knew and I didn't know that was hurting you. It's also okay too to just like own up to things, because I don't, like, for me personally, with my trauma I've experienced with my dad, and just having daddy issues altogether, I was never mad at him necessarily for treating me the way he did, because I do have grace for however, he came up, the reason he treated me a certain way. I was mad at the non-acknowledgement, to the behavior and the treatment and the acting like I was just making things up, or like the non-accountability, the non-apology,
Right.
or like expecting me to fix the issue.
Right.
Like, that's what frustrated me as the child the most, not the treatment itself.
Right.
Now, the treatment frustrates me now because it's affected me
in so many
mentally.
ways. Yes. Lord.
Ooh, child. Oh, my God. 10 years of therapy, and still I find out I have so much to heal from. But I just think if, like I said earlier, like if we're just more willing as humans to be okay self-reflecting, looking at yourself in the mirror and not thinking that we're just perfect.
Right.
Like, you will do yourself justice to really evolve and grow in a good way, because nobody is perfect.
Right. Because we can't change what we don't acknowledge. And
Exactly.
I think in addition to everything that you just said, whichever parent it is that the child is having issue with or whatever, and when they don't do the things that you just, named, how it affects the other parent's ability to compensate for what was missed. You know what I'm saying? It makes it, I don't want to say harder, but it for me, it just made me like overcompensate for
Mm-hmm.
the areas where I felt like you were voided and lacked of because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want you to feel like you were missing anything.
Yeah.
Only to find out as you get older, as much as I overcompensated, it
Yeah.
still was a void that I couldn't ever feel. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're my mom.
Hmm.
And
And I've always told you, like, I can't teach you
fill
what
those
your
shoes
father could, but,
mm-hmm.
I'm here to
to guide
listen,
me.
support, and, that sort of thing. But
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing your best to overcompensate in the time being that I didn't have one. Because even though, like you said, it didn't help 100%, it helped at least 70%.
mm-hmm.
Guide me to my self worth and value. Like you said, it's just certain things that a dad can teach you or show
Mm-hmm.
you. As far as I don't know, just like how I should be treated. Like you can show me how to be treated, but you're my mom. But as far as like romantically, I chased guys that treated me like him,
Yeah.
that were emotionally unavailable, immature, emotionally distant, hot and cold, inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And although you've shown me the opposite of that,
Mm-hmm.
it almost what do they say? What we don't have overpowers. You know what I mean? What you entertain the most overpowers.
Yeah. And I feel like, with women, we're like just emotional and
Yeah.
nurturers, you know what I'm saying? And so too much emotion or nurture is like a little bit too much because you don't need extra emotion
Yeah.
or nurture.
Yeah.
You need a nice balance. And I feel like
Yes.
men deal in facts and not
Mm-hmm.
feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the
Kind of
other,
teach you that backbone.
yeah,
Like, and even knowing your worth.
yeah, standing up for yourself, what you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't accept, when you experiencing different things, like let's say if somebody you date,
Yeah.
get out of your feelings about things
Period.
and
Wake
deal with
up.
the facts. Yeah. So,
That's true. Kind of like schooling you on like if they
what to
say this,
expect. Yeah.
right? Don't fall for it.
And Grant, I've shared those same things with you, but it hits different.
Coming from your dad or a man.
Because even when I'm telling you, it's more in with a feeling versus a fact.
Exactly. And based off of your own
Experience.
feminine experience.
Yeah. So.
It's hard. It really is. That's why we really do promote like healthy relationships all together on this channel, and really like having a healthy environment within your household, healthy dynamics, period. Because when I say it literally affects everything, like the way you think, how you feel about yourself, it's going to be hard for me to not get emotional for this episode.
Oh.
Ooh, Cameron, don't look at me.
It's okay.
Ooh, okay.
How it still affects guys.
And I'm 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had daddy issues pretty much my whole life, and my dad has not been in my life for almost 5 years. At the end of this year, and I'm still realizing, even though I've had like 10 years of therapy, like sometimes I still feel like I'm not valuable, or like sometimes I still feel like unworthy or not good enough for people. And I like find myself trying to like prove my worth,
Yeah.
and like prove like I'm a good person, like I'm worth like you sticking around. And it's really made me have like anxious attachment in my relationships, and being afraid that like people are gonna abandon me.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard. Ooh, I was trying so hard not to cry.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's what this is about. We're being like the example for like what being vulnerable looks like, even though it can be kind of embarrassing because I'm an ugly crier.
No, it's okay.
I'm a really ugly crier. It's just been really hard though. Like I've been recently trying to like date again, and I'm like, why do I still feel anxious? Like, and I don't even know this person, but I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna leave me. It's like, why do you care if someone's gonna leave you and you don't know? Isn't that the weirdest thing? Like, it's not weird, but just like the fact that
You're
my
thinking
father-
about like how the reality of a thing is without the trauma.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You have reality with your trauma, and this is the outcome of it. So it's not weird. It's the space that you find yourself in that you got to work through.
Yeah.
but you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So the fact that you know and you can acknowledge it, that means you can work through it.
Yeah.
So, and always remember, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
So, don't blame yourself for what somebody else done to you. You know, you just have to pray and ask God to help you heal through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Help you to see your value and worth.
Yeah.
And when you feel like the abandonment, or you feel like you're clamping on, or like you said, that the attachment style that you use because you think someone is going to abandon you, is kind of like when you start feeling that feeling, being aware of it so you could address it before you respond with the impulse, because ultimately you just want it to go away.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I've been having to watch like YouTube videos. I'm like, I get like kind of chaotic, not chaotic, but like when I have a goal in my head, I really want to like get it.
Yeah.
So I'll do all this research, like how do I do this? How do I get over that? So I just been like looking up tips, like how do I get over having an anxious attachment style, having daddy issues, fear of abandonment, and it's been going pretty good. It's been a week. I've been practicing detachment from outcomes in people. And it's been great. It's been a little hard.
And I always tell you, even in you learning, studying, that's amazing. And it also, like you said, will help you. But the true test comes when you're in it.
Exactly.
And we have to find out what we're learning if we apply it when needed. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
that's a good, start to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and just really working on like being aware of like when I'm feeling anxious, because I don't only fear like being abandoned by people. I like fear the outcome not going the way I seen it in my head.
Yeah,
or
because
like,
we are good with making a whole narration of what we think something is, and it ain't.
Did you guys watch Inside Out too?
That cartoon?
Yes. If you have not watched Inside Out 2, please go watch it, because the anxiety character was like, hi, Miley, I'm here now. I'm ready to take your place. It's my turn. Literally, like, I love that movie because it breaks down to kids at a young age, like, the cycle of what your mind really does, and the foundation of how those memories can shape who you are and shape how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
And, like, I love how each character has its own personality, its own voice, its own feelings, its own emotions. Because that's literally, I have a song that's unreleased called Voices.
Yes.
And like Inside Out is the perfect explanation on how like those voices feel in your head, that you're like constantly like trying to talk through yourself every day. Like constantly trying to like differentiate who's talking and like what's talking.
Right.
And I don't mean that to sound like insane.
No, you're not.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's real life.
Yeah. And it's
sometimes
hard.
we don't know how to put all that into words, because it's like, well, what is this?
Right. I just feel crazy sometimes.
But
and
you're
it's
not.
Like, yeah, no. Definitely not crazy if you like feel torn within your mind. Like, it's definitely a normal feeling, because you have so many memories in general from your childhood up until whatever your current age is. Like, that's a lot to process, a lot to
Especially
navigate.
if it don't ever stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Typically, when you dealing with childhood trauma, if you can address the person that is causing it, maybe there's a point of like, let's work on it and fix it.
Exactly.
But if that same continuous situation continues to happen, it's almost like it's never buried. It just keeps growing.
It keeps getting reopened, like a wound that keeps getting cut open and can never like stop bleeding.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter the age.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing too, understanding that like even though things happen to us when we're kids, if you never dealt with it or never truly like intentionally identified what those triggers are and like tried to heal from it, you could be 70 years old and still unhealed, unaware of that trigger within you.
Yeah, that's why I don't subscribe to what go in this house, stay in this house, because that doesn't give people an outlet. Some people won't ever say anything because they don't feel like others can relate, or maybe they're the only one who's experiencing and going through it. So being open to have an outlet, even once you share, you'll learn that it's many, many, many people having the same experiences, but you don't have anybody to, share it with.
Yeah.
Bounce back, your thoughts, what your experience has been. What did you do to, heal from it or work towards, a better space for yourself?
Yeah.
And even, the person who caused it being open to hear you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Because it's really not a blame game. It's just more making you aware when you did this, it made me feel like this, and this is the outcome. But if somebody constantly telling you, I didn't do that, I know I didn't make you feel that way, it's like...
Or tell you like you're making it up. It's very dismissive and just makes you feel very disregarded. And like that's why I always in my songs be like, I want people to feel seen and heard and understood and made to feel like they matter, because I feel like there's so many people in this world that don't feel like they do because of their childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like such a big goal for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't.
It's
This
okay.
is cringy.
It's okay.
That's why it's such a big goal for me to get that message out, because like you do matter, like your voice does matter, your story does matter. Even the people that didn't make you feel like it mattered, like I want you to know that you do matter, because sometimes that's all people need to hear. To feel like, oh, my life is worth having, or like my life is worth like staying here another day. Because those negative voices will make you feel opposite. And then not only that, like your abuser's voice ends up becoming your own voice.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight off. You believe what they tell you. So,
yeah,
it's hard.
Very hard.
The struggle's real.
Yeah. And I always tell you, all things work together for your good to those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose, because what you are experienced, you're able to help the next person because you don't keep it to yourself. You do open up and you do share. And, I try to, subscribe to, parents don't make it about self. If your kid is expressing themselves, and it might hurt you from hearing whatever it is that you did.
It's not easy to hear about yourself.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, you ain't the only young girl out there that experience and feel what you feel. And the fact that you open up and share, like, that's going to give the next person hope. That's going to let the next person know, like, dang, she go through that too, me too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's brave to talk about it, and then even shedding the tears. Like you said, like, baby, listen, nobody want to cry, but what we going to do?
Right? You got to get it out.
Yeah.
You have to, because suppressing your emotions really only makes the problem go, like, fonder, grow bigger. And that's how you see so much violence in this world. That's how you see people pulling triggers on. First, I think I seen a story about, like, a kid pulling... or like getting violent because he, like, I don't know, something about a game, or like a 7-year-old mad at their mom because they took their game away and they'll shoot. You know what I mean? Like, there's violence out here, or just in general, you walk into a store and you can't even really trust that the strangers anymore because you don't know where people's mental states are. That's most of those people have a whole bunch of suppressed emotions, angry at the world, angry at their childhood, angry at their life for experiencing, just not feeling good enough, not feeling seen, not feeling like they got to open up. And it's like a person can only take so much. So when you see people act in those ways, they're not even them anymore. They are in a blacked out. Exactly. Like the psyche is a real thing.
That's why it's important when you are in the public, to smile at people, even saying hello,
Yes. How are you? How's your day?
That makes a real difference. That can change the mind of what a person was intending
going to
do. Because
to themselves, to somebody else, to the environment you're in.
Right. Because it's like, wow, somebody's seen me.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Very, very important.
Yeah. It's not hard to be a good person. It really isn't. Like she said, it's as simple as saying hi to somebody. Right. Me and my mom go to the gym pretty much 5 days a week for the most part.
Yeah.
And just about just about the whole gym knows who we are.
Yeah.
Because we just are ourselves and we say hi to everybody and we smile at everyone. And I remember when we had first started, it was kind of like stiff energy in the gym at first. Like everybody was like, if we smiled, they were kind of just like not say anything or like not smile back. But it's like that the repetitiveness of our energy and like remaining the same regardless of their reactions.
Right.
Inspired them to be like, oh my God, hi, good morning. And then it was like a ripple effect of each person that was like stiff or like kind of rude. Now they're can't wait to see us. And if we miss a day or a week, where are my favorite girls at?
Yeah.
I haven't got to say hi to you and see those smiles.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, no joke when I say just about the whole gym.
Yeah.
Like we have a morning gym family and don't know most of their names.
Right. You just know they face.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like when you can walk into a room and have infectious energy like that and shift the narrative of what it used to be and turn it into something else, I think is so powerful.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of significance in just the simplicity of the hi or the how are you. So.
Yeah, facts. Listening to their stories.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Child, I don't think we can go anywhere and we don't mind. Like we've just accepted our
It's the cutest
gift.
thing ever.
It is. Like people will tell us their whole life story randomly. Mind you, there'll be a whole bunch of people in the store. Like they'll walk past. That literally will be bagging our groceries. Hey, how are you ladies doing? Now they're telling us their whole life story for an hour, and we listen. We packing our, groceries. They're like, "Oh well, thank you for listening to me."
Right.
And we're like, "You're welcome."
Right.
And then we're like, "What just happened?"
They don't know us for Adam, but
Literally.
we're told you just have welcoming energy.
Yep. It's something about our auras that people say that are just inviting and safe. And I feel like that's a really good quality. I feel like God puts vessels on this earth to not only be singers and actors and all of that, but listeners and people that,
Actively listen and don't have to make, something about them because somebody else is telling them a story, but just like hearing them out because sometimes people just want you to listen. They ain't really looking for a response.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you've got a wide load. Oh my God. A listening ear goes a long way, which is why we encourage therapy.
Yes, it really helps.
And even if it's not therapy, like creating a space like me and my mom did right here, right now, to where, like I said, we have these conversations 4 to 5 hours every day. We're just putting a camera on it and I'll break down like this and she'll hold me and hug me.
Right.
And like tell me everything's going to be okay. But shining light on the spaces like this because it doesn't have to be highlighted, you know what I mean, or in the spotlight for you to have a space.
Right.
Just having somebody you're safe.
Yeah.
Safe with, someone you can like fall apart with.
Right.
And they're not going to judge you or think you're being dramatic or like laugh at you.
Right.
So yeah, period.
So how do you feel like you have dealt with, your daddy issues? Is there like some pointers that you have that you can share with other people? Excuse me.
It's honestly still a huge journey for me. I really have gotten a lot better, I will say.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you.
Got better.
Yes, in the last, what do you say, like 3 years maybe. The therapist I had at the time helped, I won't say with the daddy issues part, but with me as far as like how I felt about myself.
How you see yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest part that my dad affected was just how I view myself, my worth, my value, my self-esteem. That's something that I had a negative picture of in my head because of, the things that he would like say to me or like how he would treat me. Like that's how I felt about myself. So I actually did a book. I think it was like the Manifestation Journal or something from Amazon. It was like $20. It said for women, but I think anybody could do it.
Right.
And it really just had a lot of like self-awareness questions. Like, how do you feel about yourself and why? And then it's like you write it down and it's like, dang, like I feel like I'm not worthy. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm unlovable. I feel like I'm this. And it's like when you write it down, it makes it real. And now that it's written down, you have the opportunity to reverse it. Because just because that was told to you doesn't mean it's true. And I
Right.
feel like you have the opportunity to change your own narrative. What happened to you doesn't define you.
Right.
It's how you move forward and how you can, bounce back from the things that happened to you and be resilient. So seeing it, it was like, okay, that was a lie. So now write the truth about yourself down.
Right. Right.
And now it's like, okay, I am worthy. I am lovable. And even if you don't believe it, it's like seeing it and writing it for yourself. The consistency, kind of how when we talked about you made me write those sentences when I got in trouble, consistently seeing that for yourself really helps.
Yep.
And
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
yes,
So speak life.
yes,
Always.
yes, that
What you say will
helps.
manifest. You know?
Where the ding ding ding. I'm gonna have to bring one of those like buttons where it's like ding. No, that's really true though. Like how you speak of yourself goes a long way. And even just looking at yourself in the mirror, I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what? You that girl. Because when nobody else says it, you have to say it to yourself. And I don't mean like be like, yeah, because don't be cocky.
Not on no
Arrogance,
Right.
but just self affirmations,
Yeah.
positive affirmations for yourself. Writing it, I remember. Oh my God, I had these sticky notes that I wrote down a whole bunch of them, and I like stuck them on my mirror.
I remember.
I was not playing around because I'm like, you're gonna believe this one day. I don't care who told you what. You're going to believe this. You're going to shut out the negative voice that was told to you as a child. So yeah, that's the first thing I remember that made a big impact.
So do you think or which one talks louder? What you feel like was said or the unspokenness of what wasn't said?
I don't know. That was a good question. I don't know about all that. I don't know.
Because silence can be loud.
I think, that's a really hard one because what was said was so loud, literally, like verbally, literally loud in my ear. But I think the silence probably spoke louder because you're not present. You know what I mean? And it leaves a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of like wondering, like, dang, I'm that bad of and I don't believe this anymore, but in the moment I'm like, dang, you hate me that much that you don't want to be in my life, like to just abandon me. What did I do to you?
Right.
Like, and it just it more so fed the things that were said
Got you.
more. I'm like, now, like, you told me this. Okay, well, he told me I was this, and that. So this must be why he doesn't want me, or this must be why he's not around.
So how do you silence the sound, as your song says?
Music, writing music, and like sharing my story really helps because it almost just confirms that I'm not alone in, going through it. And I know so many other people experience it as well. And understanding too, what helped me a lot is like understanding he has his own mental battles. Like just like I have my own mental battles, you have your own mental battles. He has whatever he has going on in his head, and that is not about me. And for so long, I took his actions very personal. But the more I've gotten older, I'm like, you know what? How you treated me was just a reflection of how you really feel about yourself and how you still feel about yourself. And if you don't think I'm worthy enough to stay in my life, thank you for taking yourself out, because I don't need anybody that's unsure about me, because I know it's your loss at the end of the day.
Right.
I'm at the point in my life now where I'm like, you know what? You are a great person. You have a lot to offer. And now I really more so am grateful for the experience, as bad as it hurt me. So I'm like, without you doing that to me, I wouldn't be who I am today, to be able to impact children just like me, grown women, men, you know what I mean? People of all ages, of all genders, of all cultures with my story, if you hadn't have put me through what you put me through. And I stopped taking what happened to me as a personal attack. And I'm like, you know what, God, I see what you're doing here. I was supposed to
You
go
didn't
through
pity
this.
yourself.
Exactly. Because again, it's everything you go through is not about you. It really is about who you're supposed to impact. And when I seen the music that was coming out of it, I'm like, you know what? Let's do this again. Don't do it again. But I don't want to do it again. It was hard to heal. Even the increment I have healed.
Yeah.
But when you see the beauty that really does come out of pain, it just makes you not resent it as much. Because you'll start to resent it and think like, why me? But when you see
Thinking, oh, I'm a great person. How come I have
Yeah.
to be going through this and that? And it has nothing to
Great
do
things.
with,
Yes.
how great you are, good you are.
Yeah.
I mean, look how great
You
God
are.
was.
I said you are.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thinking
like,
about how they
God,
did Jesus.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? So
and he
who
got
are we?
done dirty, okay?
But just like you, he took what he experienced and went through to help others. And
Yes,
so,
and look how powerful the outcome of what he did was.
yeah,
So it's like when you think from that perspective, and then again, it goes back to your perspective, how you view it. If you're telling yourself, dang, he left because I'm not worthy and I'm, not good enough and I'm this and everything he said about me was true. Ooh, child. And the thing is, not only was there things said to me while he was around by him and family members, but when he wasn't around, even worse things about me. Oh my God. I thought it was bad then when he was around. It was worse after the things that was said about me in, online, in person. I got attacked by his sister, my aunt, physically, in a store, So it's like that's a lot of trauma. Not only did you, mentally and emotionally abuse me, but now your sister is trying to physically abuse me. And she's verbally abusing me, calling me all kinds of names, and it's a lot,
especially
especially
witnessed.
right. It's like, and then it's like you don't stick up for me, and you don't, and that's what I mean by like it's so important to have like good relationships with your kids, because it's like when I feel like he put everybody else as like a priority, and I wasn't one.
Yeah.
So it's like not only does my voice not matter, and my opinion doesn't matter when I'm like being harmed.
It's okay, Lauren.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay.
When I'm being put in like harm's way, literally somebody threatening to like punch me and like fight me and call me every name but the child of God. You're on the phone like, oh, what did she do? And still, what did I do? Instead of like, what?
Yeah.
So it's like I was not
Protect you.
protected. And it just makes you feel worthless. But it's like, I know I'm not.
No.
And I'm not going to let you define my story. So, yeah.
Like you said, that's where those powerful songs
come out of.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Thank you for putting me through all that pain. Thank you for, and even in the moment I was being attacked, God showed me how strong I was. Because through all the aggressiveness I was shown and being screamed at, literally like this, someone's barking in my face like a dog, being like threatened to be punched with punches this close to my face and pushed me into a window. I hit my head. God showed me the strength that I had to where I wasn't fearful of that. I knew that I had God's armor around me in that very moment, and I still do to this day. And it's like when you have God's armor and God's protection, no weapon formed against you can ever prosper.
That's right.
And that's why every punch she tried to throw at me was like a magnetic field blocking her, because I am God's child and you cannot do anything to me. So
what the enemy meant for bad, God will make it good.
exactly. And the enemy will try to make you feel like those people exiting your life is a loss to you or a punishment. But sometimes people leaving is a good thing. Sometimes people not being in your space, regardless of the title they hold to you,
That part.
okay, it's not worth it.
We put too much
Weight.
on a person's title,
Exactly. It
Title,
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. It's not who a person is, it's how they treat you. You know what I'm saying? It's not what a person say, it's what their actions are.
Exactly.
So,
and if your actions are harmful and detrimental to my mental health, thank you for exiting, because I probably would have never had the strength to exit you.
Right.
So
It would have been a continuation in a different way.
Yes. And my mental health was in shambles when he was around and his sister was around and that whole side was around. I was always emotionally unstable, just not in a good space. I was always depressed because of the inconsistency, the up and down, the treatment. It's like, at least in your silence and you being away, I have peace. I'll struggle with, fiending for a fantasy of what I wish you were to me.
Instead of what the reality
Right.
is.
But I would much rather that temporary hurt than that permanent hurt of just saying, like, fine. I'll reach back out to you. We could be cool, for me to stay in a toxic cycle that is not serving me. I can't be my best self with that kind of energy around.
Right.
And just because somebody is blood, like, I love you unconditionally, but I don't unconditionally tolerate that kind of behavior.
Right.
And it's okay to not tolerate bad behavior from your mom, from your dad, from your aunt, from your sister, from your brother. I don't care who it is.
Right.
Because people feel that they're entitled to treat you a certain way or have the okay, because we are blood, for you to accept that kind of treatment. And that's just not okay.
Right.
Point blank, period. If I don't treat you that way, you sure shouldn't be treating me that way. You shouldn't be treating anybody like that. You should treat people how you want to be treated.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not the case for most people.
Nope.
And it's just, no. BLOCKEDT, blocked is what I call it, whether it's on social media or in real life.
Right. Facts.
You gotta let go of what's not serving you, or it'll hinder you in where God is taking you in your success. And also, too, forgiveness. You not forgiving somebody is only ever going to hold you back.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Don't have hate for people. Don't have anger. Don't have a grudge for the people
No
that
bitterness.
treated you. Ooh, please don't be bitter. It's hard. And I'm not saying that you're not going to feel this way. Like, you're going to feel that.
Every emotion.
Yes.
So you
like,
don't.
Heavily.
Yeah.
Don't stay there.
Right.
Because while you're boo-hooing and bitter and upset at the world, attacking like that, and why do they treat me like this? They're sleeping peacefully in their sleep. Not literally peacefully, because nobody that acts like that is peaceful. Okay. But I just mean they're not thinking about you. So it's like, you have to forgive yourself, one, for allowing that kind of treatment, and you have to forgive them so you can move on, you can prosper. Because anything that you're latching on to, if we talk about going back to attachments, you can't let it fly.
Right.
It's going to hinder you. It's going to be deep within you, and it's going to make you angry. So don't forgive for them, but for yourself.
And knowing that, depending on the age of things happening to you, it had nothing to do with what you allowed. It's just what they did.
Exactly.
That's why I say you don't blame yourself.
Period.
Because you being a young, young girl growing up, you have no control. You know what I'm saying?
Over how somebody treats you.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Child.
The struggle's real.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have any like daddy issues, mommy issues, attachment issues? Like, what's your take?
I feel like I have mom issues or whatever.
Yeah.
Child.
She said that it goes deep.
Yeah. Like, probably since I can remember, maybe 10-year-old, I've always had to be the adult in the mom and daughter relationship. Like, I didn't have a choice as far as like my position.
Yeah.
It's always been, I was mothering her at, age 10, and the choices that she would make and the things that she would like do. And that's followed me, throughout the duration of my life. And I finally got to the point where it's like, I don't want to play the role of your parent.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the child, you know what I'm saying? You're my mom. And although I have had to accept that she just isn't capable to being to me what I need, but at the same time, not like allowing her to make me like mother her, you know what I'm saying?
Setting that boundary.
Yeah. That's a lot of like pressure. Like I said, from the probably as early as 10, like one of the things that had happened when I was about 10, she woke me up out of my sleep, and she was like, I'm gonna die. And I'm like, why? She said, I just tried to kill myself. And I'm like, how? And she said she took a bunch of sleeping pills. And so, I'm trying to figure out like, what do I do, And
At 10.
yeah, so I had to call like 911. I explained to them what happened. They said I needed to call poison control, so I did that. the ambulance came. I remember them, strapping her down to the that bed that they bring in to, take you. And I had went with her, and then they said that they had to pump like charcoal in her stomach or whatever, and she had to go like to the psych ward kind of like thing or whatever. But that was a lot, now looking back on,
Yeah.
that was a lot to process
At 10,
at 10,
years old. That's
And
what, fifth grade?
yeah, it was a graduating from 5th grade going into 6th. So,
That's a lot.
yeah. I'm like, girl. So, yeah, that was a lot. And, I just felt like that was the beginning of
The cycle.
yeah, it just,
The extremes of the cycles.
and then my dad, he had mental illness. He was schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And
Which was very hard.
and I was told, like, I want to say I was like 17 to go down there and get your dad, that he lived in the South. And they was like, oh, bring him back up here to take care of him and things like that. I was excited because I never like lived with my dad. I just went to visit him in the summertime. And I didn't know what I was really walking into.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I didn't have enough experience. I'm just thinking I'm about to have fun with my dad.
Oh.
And then, brung him here, got him a space. We like lived together, and he would be standing over me in the middle of the night saying he gonna kill me and stuff. He would have a shoe in his hand like he was about to bust me in my head. And,
That's so
like I
scary.
said, hindsight looking back, like, whoa, And
Yeah.
due
It's like
to-
in the moment, you're like, wait, is this real? But looking back, you're like, wow, I was 17 dealing with that
in harm's way.
from my own dad.
And I knew because of his mental illness, now that that's what was like taking over, but that's what made it even worse. And
Yeah.
and so I wondered, like, why would my mom, pretty much convince me to go and do that, And then when it was time for me to make the adjustments as far as like, this is too much for me, I can't handle it, I end up starting therapy. And the therapist, I'll never forget, she said, the people that's telling you that you need to do this, are they willing to step in and help any? And they all told me no. And she said, exactly. She said, I'm going to help you find a space for him because the condition that he has is out of your league.
Right.
They're-
Specialists can only handle that.
So if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
Like the therapist who like coached me through that. And basically like my mom and, other family members basically condemned me for, oh, that's not right. That's not this, and it's like, do y'all really know what y'all be putting people through,
yeah.
That they shouldn't even be experiencing? So
That was just not such an unwise suggestion to even mention to someone that's 17 years old, first of all. It's like you're not even actually an adult yet. And you're already having the responsibility to watch over an adult. Not only an adult, but somebody who has serious mental health issues where your life is threatened.
So now I'm being the mother of
Two.
Of both of my parents.
And at the same time, also being guilt tripped by people who aren't even willing. That's what people don't realize too. Like family makes things worse. You not only have to deal with the guilt of not being able to do it, but it's like people, like you said, will condemn you. Like that's not right. That's your this and that's your that. So it's like screw how my mental health and how it's making me feel.
Yeah, and they made it seem and feel so normal,
Yeah, condition you.
Yeah. But fast forward, I want to say it was 2018, due to my father's mental illness, he took his own life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hung himself. So mental illness is like no joke. And honestly, that's why I do like really heavy on it. Feel like, deal with mental health. Because if you don't, the outcome can be like my father. And I'm grateful to God that despite of all the stuff that I seen and I was around and that I experienced, that like he's kept my mind and sustained me, and I didn't turn into this angry, bitter person because of the
Yeah.
things that I went through. You know what I
And that's
mean?
a lot you gone through too. Most people would have snapped after the second situation at 10.
I mean, there's so many other stories, but yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
thank you, God, for like keeping me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, no joke, like, that's who really like raised me for real, for real. Like, just him leading and guiding and directing and allowing certain people to be in my space to, get me to the next path. From a teacher, from a friend's parent or grandparent of some sort,
Yeah, he
and
provided you vessels.
so
What did he say? He'll be the father to the fatherless. And he definitely has been a father to you.
Okay.
See, I'm a living witness to see that.
and my mom, being a mom to me as well. And then helping me also to break the generational curses, because
Yes.
most people hurt people, and most people end up being a product of their own environment, and so you pretty much do what you learned. And so when I decided to have a baby, like, I wanted to be intentional, and I've always said, I used to tell myself this as a young girl, like, it gotta be better to life than this. And I just basically used the things that I experienced to do the opposite. So it's kind of like when you go through those things, it's your perspective on, which path you're going to take.
Yeah, and you have a choice. You don't got to repeat it.
Yeah. And I thought, like, I always want people, to be kind and treat me the way I would want to be treated. And
Yeah.
so it's like I would never want to project that type of pain on somebody else. So
Especially if you know how it made you feel.
so that's why I ain't never played about you.
She
And
sure
I
don't.
still don't.
Look at her.
So,
Look, that mama bear be coming out so quick. I can't.
So.
She has like a whole thing that comes over like, didn't I'm like, well, okay.
play with it.
I mean, that's really cool though. The fact that I'm sorry, the look you
I be
gave.
getting vision. No,
No, she be getting
don't
vision.
play with my daughter.
I do think it is cool though that despite, and I even see still how badly the relationship with your mom affects you and like the extremes that
It
happen.
was just a recent breakthrough.
like 2 days ago.
Breakdown, I should say, not even a through.
Yeah. It'll make you feel like that. It'll make you
feel like you about to lose that little mind.
literally.
And you have to literally, like, you know what? You is not about to take me out of here.
Yeah.
If you want to be a duck. Bye.
You can I'm gonna leave you to it. 'Cause you can't save people.
And I think that's been my like, I've been conditioned to sacrifice my own self and
Yes.
feelings in
Yes.
order to make sure she's okay. It doesn't matter how I'm affected, how I feel. It's just get me what I want
Despite of what you have to go through to get it.
or else,
Right. Yeah. So it's like even when you don't want to do it and your mind is telling you don't do it, your heart is guilt tripped and feels bad.
Yeah, I think I've gotten to the point though, now that I understand like what's been taking place all these years, that even in the midst of me feeling the guilt, I don't let it win.
Good.
I'll allow myself to like feel it and it pass. Because
Yeah.
ultimately I'm at a place now like, baby, listen, I'm trying to save myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to choose me this
Yeah.
time.
You have to.
How did that work for me over all these years? It didn't. That's what got us here.
Yeah.
And ultimately just knowing that no matter what I do to try to like help her, the outcome is still the same. She's still going to look for chaos, dysfunction, and how to sabotage something that's good for her. And, I can't want you to be okay more than you want yourself to be okay. All I can do is accept. And, hey, no matter how bad it looks, where I see it going, because it's like a train wreck, watching a train wreck happen,
Yeah.
and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And it's sad, but what can I do?
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, keep this mind, Jesus, because
Yes.
these people try.
They'll test you.
Ain't nobody got time for that. But
No. I think it is good that you've at least like through all of it learned to find it like, you know what? I know what the solution is. I gotta put me 1st. What's that? I gotta put me first. Have you ever seen that clip of it, like Taraji Henson, I think it is? But yeah, you really do have to put yourself first and not let people guilt trip you into feeling like their needs are more important than yours. Because people try to make you feel selfish or try to make you feel like you're a bad person for choosing yourself. But it's like you can't continue to ask me to sacrifice how I feel, my emotions, my time, my energy, especially when you're going to end up in the same predicament anyway, regardless of if I help you or not. So now I didn't stress myself out for no reason.
and that's the gag, because it's like you want to go make these decisions that's gonna take you in a bad place,
Yeah.
and you want me on standby,
like, okay, I got you when it fails.
right? Instead of just following the direction on the right path.
Yeah.
And it's like, I ain't signing up for that. If that's what you want to do, go for it, sister. I ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do. But when it happens, please don't call my line.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be able to, like, keep repeating cycles.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially when you fought so hard to break them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you gotta, the message of the day, put yourself first.
Choose yourself.
Yes.
Don't let nobody guilt induce you.
Yes. Prioritize your mental health.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to find a safe space to let it out and talk to somebody, even if it ain't the person who hurt or harmed you.
Yeah.
You know? Whoever is willing to like listen and not judge. So.
And coming to acceptance, like you said, even if the person that did hurt and harm you never acknowledges it,
You might not ever get a sorry.
And most of the time, you really don't get a sorry, unless it's like a romantic relationship. I've seen, when people want to work it out with you, but as far as childhood trauma, unless you are willing to break the curse, there will usually never be one, and you have to learn to come to terms with that within yourself, because I don't know, it's almost like as humans we fiend for like closure, but it's like you have to give closure to yourself. Them, acknowledging, yeah, would it feel better, but if they don't, it still doesn't mean it's not true what happened to you. You know what I mean?
Even if they never acknowledge.
Exactly.
You know what you experienced and been through. Yeah.
And you don't have to prove that to anybody, but you can't give them so much power to where you can only move on if they say, oh, I know I did that to you, I'm sorry. You gotta move forward. Forgive them within and forgive yourself and move on. Do your best to, at least. And it's not going to be this overnight journey. It's going to be years. It's a lot of childhood trauma to unpack and a lot of seeds that are planted in your head and a lot of boxes that are locked up and the key is thrown away. So,
which one of your songs on your Daddy Issues project would you recommend somebody listen to kind of relate in something you experienced that could possibly help them?
Well, there's 23 of them.
Okay. That's a good thing as far as options.
Yeah.
Not a good thing that you had experience all that you had 23 songs you can write about it, Lord. But
look, and it was low key more. That's just what came out.
Right.
What was even on there? I'd say If Only You'd Listen is a really good one. And it talks about, like, it's very self-explanatory, actually. If only you would listen. And it kind of is me putting me in the position of like, okay, well, even if you won't listen, I'm going to make you listen with this song. You know what I mean? Like, because even if I never speak to you again, I know you're going to listen to my song. I know you're going to hear my music. So, and also just in the perspective of, if you were to listen, to give myself that closure, like, what would I want to say to you? Kind of like writing a note to somebody that will never read it.
Right.
And throwing it away or burning it.
Right.
It's like, just because you didn't necessarily receive it, I received it.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
Yep. And you got a music video to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even think of all the other ones on there. Fallen. I love Fallen. That's one of my favorite songs. Talks about the inconsistencies of the dynamic and like being hot and cold, and how I remember he used to like, I would tell him how I feel, and yeah, he'd be like, "Oh, no, that's not true." But I want to say towards the end of our relationship, he's very big on image and how he's perceived and how he looks, and I think me being more vocal about that scared him. So he would try to like cute it up, like tidy up a little bit, and like be everything I was asking for a short amount of time, and then he switched back to who he was. So someone giving you false hope for something you're never gonna permanently get.
Right.
Yeah. That's about it.
Well, shout out to the Lord for keeping you.
Yes. And shout out to the Lord for giving you to me, or giving me to you. You know what I'm trying to say.
Me being your mom.
Yes. Yes, because you know how you said you felt like snapping? I probably would have been snapped a long time ago without you and the Lord.
I'm done.
So yeah, shout out to the parents that are, actively in their kids' lives and doing their best to be present. And
because nobody's looking for a perfect parent, just
present.
Yes.
I'll take present. And I don't mean just literally being there, but like emotionally, mentally. Yeah. It helps. It goes a long way. So I hope this episode helps you guys. It's already about to be 8:00 in 5 minutes. Yeah. We could go on about this all day. We could have part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 on this.
Yeah. But comment below something that you guys experience, or even if you want us to talk more about it, and some of the things that we're going to add to the podcast, like having you guys call in to kind of ask questions, or even, make a statement on what you feel or experience, so y'all can engage with us. So
we plan to start doing that next week, actually. So I will have a number so you guys can call in next week. We're probably going to be talking about similar topics to kind of feed off of it, because this goes way deeper. But yeah, we want to just start engaging with you guys more, really not only having ourselves as voices on here, but like giving you a platform to share your voice, share your story. Regardless if we see you on here or if it's just your voice, however you'd like to do it. If you want to be interviewed or tell your story about something that you've gone through, this is a space for that.
Yes.
And we just want this to be, for the community, for our people.
Right.
Yes. I do have a few comments.
Okay, go ahead.
On here. Before we go, we got 3 minutes. So sorry, by the way, too, because y'all been saying this, but I was too emotional to read them. I'm like, I can't do this right now. Theodore said, "Hi, ladies." Hi, Theodore.
Hey, Theodore.
Noah. Hey, Noah.
Hey, Noah.
She said, "Hey, girls. Happy Friday. I definitely can relate to daddy issues. Mine abandoned me at 2.5.
Wow.
See, and child, it just sucks that that's even a narrative that happens. So again, everybody needs both of their parents. Well, I'm sorry that you can relate.
Right.
I'm not happy that you can relate to it, but I'm happy that you felt comfortable enough to share that with us, and know that I 100% relate to you, and that you're strong and you can get through it. I felt like I couldn't get through it for a long time, but here I am.
Yeah.
Cassandra Reed. Hey, Cassandra.
Hi, Cassandra.
She said, "Hello, beautiful ladies. It's okay, beautiful sweetheart. It's okay to not be okay. Your story and transparency is healing to many and very healthy for you. That's how it is with my husband and I wherever we go." Thank you, Cassandra. I wish I had answered that one in the moment, because the last one, I don't remember what we were talking about for the last comment. Noah said, "I love it. Me and my mom hear people's life stories at the store as well." Man, auras and energies really go a long way. Cassandra Reed says, "Self-love is everything. You better preach, girl." Cassandra says, "No need to apologize, sweetie. Let it out." Thank you. Sorry for my boo-hooing today, y'all.
Well, it just shows you even have a safe space.
Yeah.
In the space that you're creating.
Right? Right. We're walking what we talk.
That's right.
So... period. One more comment. DeAndre said, "Hey, y'all." Hey, Dre.
Hey.
Dolores said, "Love y'all. We love you more." That's it, actually.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. See you guys next week.
Yes.
Hope you have an amazing weekend.
Yes. Yeah. We love you. We're here for you. And we can't wait for episode 4. It's going to be a month next week. So we hope to hear some call from you guys next week.
Tell a friend.
Yes.
Go check it out on YouTube. Subscribe to her Lauryn Nichole channel.
Period. Have a good weekend.
Bye.